So we can say Bore da, Sally.
Bore da, Sally.
Bore da, Lumsden. Do you know what we say next after we've said Bore da?
No.
Sit witi. And that means how are you? So do you know in Wales that we speak another language? So we speak English, but we also speak Welsh. And so I say Bore da, sit witi. And you would say, I'm iawn, which means I'm good. Fi'n iawn. Who can say fi'n iawn? You all get, oh my gosh, you're so clever. Shall I tell you some stuff about Wales? Because that's where I was born. So when I came out of my mummy's tummy, I was in Wales. That's a long, long, long way away. And in Welsh, we say Wales is Cymru. That's how we say Wales in Welsh. Who can say Cymru? I bet you can, Edward. Cymru. Oh, very clever. Who knows where Wales is? Where is it?
In England.
Next to England, just before you go on the bridge, there's a man. He's not a troll, he's a man. And you've got to pay him some money, and he will let you go into Wales. Because Wales is a very special place, and that's why you have to pay money. But it's a very long bridge, and it goes across the River Severn. It's a pretty cool place. Oh, now, thank you, Oscar. What is this picture of? Oh, down the back. Oh, yeah. What is it of?
The flag.
The flag. And who's on the
The
flag?
flag.
Yes. So we've got a couple of flags here. This is one that Oscar has got from his grandma who lives in Wales. We call her Grandma Wales.
Wow, look how big that one is.
That's a massive flag. Who's on it?
The dragon.
Dragon. What's the dragon standing on?
The flag.
The green grass. A special day in Wales. And, oh, somebody knows when it is. Can you tell me?
George.
Yes.
Oh, George.
St. David's Day.
That's exactly right. That's the 1st of March.
And George, could you tell Sally what you know about St. David's Day?
The girls get dressed in the clothes.
Yes, that's exactly right. So St. David, he was a monk. He was a guy who used to work in the church, and he used to look after everybody. And he was very, very clever and looked after so many people that they made him the patron saint of Wales. And on his special day, which was the 1st of March, we all have to dress up, all the girls dress up, and we wear a funny little costume which is called the Welsh costume, and this is what I used to wear when I was a little girl. So this is what I used to have to dress up in. I've got a sister, Jennifer, who lives in Wales. She still lives in Wales, and she used to have to dress up too. And we used to go to school, and guess what we used to pin to our top? Do you know what flower? Oh, what flower? Yes. And so we used to go to school, and we used to do a bit of dancing, and guess what the boys used to wear? Because they couldn't wear dresses, could they? So what did they used to wear on their top?
Leeks.
Yes, leeks. And we wear leeks because they just grow loads of leeks in Wales, like fields and fields and fields of leeks. But also St. David made all of his men, so all the men who used to work for St. David, they always used to wear leeks. So if they went into a big crowd of people, everybody could know that the people wearing leeks were Welsh, and so they could say whether you were Welsh or whether you were English. So, Edward, if you were wearing a leek, that meant that you were Welsh, and Harry, if you weren't wearing a leek, that meant you were English, so we knew who was a part of the Welsh country. So St. David was the patron saint of Wales, and he used to look after everybody. Well, Welsh people are very good at rugby. And this is Oscar's dad's Welsh rugby shirt. Where do they play rugby in Wales? Do you all know?
Oh, we know this. Where do they play rugby? What's the place they play
What's
rugby?
this place up here?
What's it?
Georgia.
The Million Stadium.
Yes. Now, when I was finishing university, and I used to work there, and it's a very, very famous rugby pitch, and people come down to that rugby pitch and they grab handfuls of grass
Llandilo.
Yes. It's got 2 L's in the front. There was this castle, it was called Castle Carreg Cennen. And inside it, guess what there was? A dungeon. You have to go down a tunnel, down some steps, all the way down to the ground. And it's really dark in there. And that's the dungeon. Maybe that's where they kept the dragons. The Welsh dragons off the map. They were my favourite. My grandma used to make cakes all the time, and Welsh cakes were our favourite. They've got sultanas and raisins in. They're pretty yummy. And then also my second favourite was Welsh rarebit, and that's sort of like cheese on toast, but mixed in with a whole lot of other yummy things. What else have we got in our bag, Oscar? Who can tell me what one of these is?
We know that one.
Georgia?
I love spoon.
I love spoon. So, do you know all about Welsh love spoons? Welsh people love spoons. But what the story is that when a man likes, or when a boy likes a girl, he gets a piece of wood and he carves out little stories in the wood that show why he loves his. This one was given to Oscar's mum and dad, so me and Rob, for our wedding, and it shows. Oh, what flower is this? Does anybody know what flower?
Daffodil.
Perfect. And up here, who's up here?
A dragon.
Yes. And down here, this is a musical instrument. This might be a bit
Oh,
tricky.
we
Do you
know
know what
that
musical
one.
instrument it is? This is not tricky at all. Who knows?
Rosa.
Hat.
Harp.
Harp, that's right. And do you know what? My granddad used to make harps. He had a big shed out in the back, and he had all of this machinery and lots of wood and these beautiful strings, and he used to make harps. So this shows that I come from Wales and that I love daffodils, and it shows my family history. And then at the bottom it shows the heart that brought Oscar's mum and dad together. So that's why that shows a sort of a bit of a family history, a family story.